Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to a special bonus episode of the Build Your Copywriting Business podcast. Hey there, Kate.
Yay. Hello.
Hello. Okay, so special bonus. It is right before Valentine's Day when we are releasing this. Happy early Valentine's Day, everybody. And we wanted to talk about why we love copywriting.
Mm-hmm.
Copywriting
Because we
is,
love it.
yes, copywriting is my Valentine. Love me some copywriting. Okay, so Kate, first thing, why do you love copywriting?
Oh gosh. I think I love, funny enough, we recorded an episode about flexibility, which we'll link to here, but I think that's my number one reason is I love the flexibility. I love that I never feel stuck. I guess, don't tell my husband, I feel like I'm very commitment phobic. I don't like making,
Valentine's Day surprise there, everybody.
plot twist. I like the not feeling stuck. I was growing up and I never understood this. Like I love soccer. I hated having to be there Monday, Wednesday, Friday from like 4:30 to 5:30 or whatever practice was. I hated having to be somewhere at a specific time, which yes, I am there for client meetings now and there are specific times, but there's that flexibility of like, oh, I need to run an errand. Cool. I'm going to go run an errand. And even if I'm full-time on staff, there's still that flexibility of, I don't feel like I owe, not that I don't owe the company anything. Of course, I'm going to put in my best effort if I'm at the company, but I don't feel tied to it. I feel like I always have this life raft. And for me, that feeling of just having this thing that I can take anywhere and never feeling stuck or tied to one location, which is really nice, that I can travel with it, name an aspect of the flexibility of it, the hours, the income, the location. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I agree. You have like life highlight moments, right? Where you look back, you're like, that was that perfect moment. And there was a couple of years ago, I was living in Barcelona for a month. Basically, the guy I was with and I had decided to travel for a while. And we were like, let's give Barcelona a try. So we Airbnb'd an apartment there, and every morning I would get up and I went to, maybe not every morning, but most mornings I would get up and I would, try to do my copy earlier in the day. And I found this just really fantastic cafe in the Gothic quarter of Barcelona. And I would sit down and and they would, I would order in Spanish and, they would bring me my coffee and the food was really good and the sun was streaming in the window. And I don't think I've ever been as productive as I was sitting in a cafe in Barcelona, living my best life. And I don't think that there are many careers in which you have an opportunity to do that, because that I could live in Barcelona for months, still deliver copy to the clients that I was working, like big clients, and have that sun stream in the window, sipping a coffee, eating. Oh, they had such good food there too. Oh.
Can you tell we miss travel? We haven't traveled much since the pandemic.
I love the United States, but I need to get out for a little bit. And you're exactly right. Copy has that opportunity. I love too that for me, I think one of the favorite things about it is that you have that creative element to it, but there's also that strategic element to it. For me, I love creative writing. I love the concept of creative writing, and I certainly it's actually one of the goals for 2022 to be doing some more creative writing. Someday before I die, I will write a novel. But part of when I remember before trying to sit down and be like, all right, today we're gonna write, that blank page would just stymie any efforts. And the cool thing about copywriting is that you have this creative element, but you also have this objective you're trying to meet, this puzzle that you're trying to solve. And you get to do that creatively. It's I mean, you and I have both called it like a word puzzle kind of. And every day is a new puzzle and a different kind of puzzle and it's a challenge, but just enough of a challenge. If you've ever been at say this not necessarily to you, Kate, but to the listeners, if you've ever been at a job or doing something where you're bored out of your mind, I think that there's some people that are like, oh, that just sounds so great. Just sit there all day and do nothing. No, it's the worst.
Yeah.
To be bored at a job is the worst. And then at the same time too, when you have to do something that's just beyond your level of skill that's just too challenging and you don't know how to do it. But copywriting is just that right level of challenge where it's okay, I have the skills to solve this. How am I going to do that? And you have that, it's the sweet spot of challenge, and it's that for every project, just a different challenge and a different type of challenge.
Yeah. To your point, being bored at a job is painful. And I think that's the nice thing with copywriting is once you're done with whatever you need to do for the day, maybe you get a head start on your work for the next day or the next week or whatever. Maybe you take time to focus on your business and growing your business and setting up your systems or, whatever it is. Or maybe you just go out and enjoy the day, or you say, hey, I don't actually have a ton of work today. I'm going to step out for lunch and come back and do work. Or I know this goes back to flexibility, but I think it's that not feeling tied to an office chair is such a nice feeling, that I don't have to sit here from 9 to 5 if I have nothing to do, and that I can be productive in other areas of my life as I need to and use my time in a way that works for me and
Mm-hmm.
makes sense for me and isn't just, life's short, not to get morbid, but like we need to value our time. And I feel like there's nothing I value more than my time. So to
Yeah.
be stuck in an office and not feeling like I can do anything productive, to be scrolling on Facebook for no, I don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm. It always amazes me when people are like, oh, what do you do? And they're like, well, I do this, X, Y, Z. And you say, oh, do you like it? And they go, it's
Nah.
okay. That blows my mind. I mean, not that not everyone loves their jobs. They certainly am aware of that. But like, okay, so what are you doing about that?
Yeah.
Don't you spend so much time working? Shouldn't you be at least looking for a job or a career that you enjoy to some degree? That always
Mm-hmm.
amazes me. And I know that our listeners are probably, just by virtue of the fact that they're listening into this, they are the same kinds of people who are always looking for something more and looking to have a better life than just meh. But it just blows my mind when people are like, meh, this is my job. I'll just do this
Mm-hmm.
until I die.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do this. I work for the weekends. Like, oh, what kind of life is that? Is that what you dreamt about when you were a little kid, working for the weekends? Like, this is who you thought you would be. Anyway, we're going a little bit off on a tangent, but yeah, another thing besides the fact that I enjoy what I do and I find it fulfilling. I mean, before I got onto it, it's really cool to write something and be like, dang, I did a good job with this. Check this out.
Mm-hmm.
And then to give it to your client, who is also like, yes, you did an excellent job, but then put it out into the world. And you see it on banner ads. You see it in an email that comes into your inbox. You see it in print. You see it. It's such a cool feeling and frankly validating as a creative to see your work out in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just cool
Mm-hmm.
that you're helping people, you're helping the business grow, you're connecting people with the solution that they need to whatever their problem is. You're getting the word out on something that, depending what you do, I guess if you're writing for, big tobacco, maybe that's not the case. But for the majority of companies we write for, you have an opportunity to be helping the business and helping their consumers.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's
Which is
another
cool.
point too, is right. You don't have to write for anybody you
Yeah.
want to write for. There's
Yeah.
so many different clients out there. Yeah, you don't necessarily don't go into a position thinking, oh, I know exactly what this company is going to be like, because there are some companies that you wouldn't think of that have really fantastic charitable arms, or really, so
Mm-hmm.
not, again, maybe not necessarily big tobacco, but again, you don't want to write for big tobacco. Don't write for big tobacco. There's so many different companies. There are millions of companies, and you only need like 4 or 5 to have a
Mm-hmm.
very good per month, to have a very good freelance income. You get to work with all kinds of different companies and people and learn all kinds of things.
Mm-hmm. And that's another thing I love. And not why we tell people not to niche. The reason we tell people not to niche is because you don't need to, / you don't, especially starting out, don't know what
Yeah.
you don't know.
Yeah.
You might think, oh, I like dogs, so I want to write for pet companies. And you might realize that that's not what you want to do, that you like dogs, but you want to keep that separate from your work or whatever it is. Or maybe you do like that, but you also want to write for cats and for non-animal things like a restaurant or whatever. But that variety keeps it interesting. Writing for the same thing day in and day out for 10 years of my life sounds like the most miserable thing. I mean, you get bored. Frankly, you get stagnant. You get complacent. You just, okay, here's the copy. I've been there. I think we've both been there for companies that we've been at long enough where we're like, here it is, phoning it in because this is client's going to find it fine. You don't have the opportunity to challenge yourself, which I love, that opportunity to challenge myself and to go work for a company, whether it's an industry or writing in a new medium, which is always fun. Trying to think if there's a medium I haven't written for yet. I feel like chatbots are the one thing that I haven't written for. But anytime, I haven't done video in a while, and a friend asked, hey, can you write a script for this? And it was a tiny project, but I was like, oh yeah, I haven't done a script in a while. Like that'll be super, super fun. Like a voiceover. Cool. Which is just a different part of the brain. You have to think about someone talking versus words on the screen, or if they're words on the screen, how do they work with the voiceover? So that challenge and that variety just keeps it. I love it. If you can't tell.
Yes. Yeah.
Very animated if you're watching on YouTube.
Copywriting really is my
hand
Valentine.
gestures.
Yes. Well, and, let's be honest about this. We balance out that creativity. You also get paid really well. It's this copywriting is not content writing. Content writing, I'm sorry to say this, and we will always be I don't love it, but also it's not paid very well. It's a churn and burn industry, and we will be the first people to tell you that all writers should be paid well. What we do is valuable. Unfortunately, the fact of the matter is right now, copywriters are the writers that get paid well because we can demonstrate very clearly to companies and organizations the value of what we do. And so they're willing to pay for that value. And, it's important that at least some writers get paid well because what we do is valuable. And at the same time too, it's because of that flexibility, especially if you're freelance or maybe you're full-time and then also take some freelance clients as well. We always recommend that just to keep you fresh. If you want to make a little bit more money, or you're like, you know what, it's I've got nothing going on. I'm gonna be sitting at home, whatever. Dial it up. Pitch some more clients, get some more work. Or if you're like, you know what, it's the summertime, the kids are going to be home for the summer, I want to be able to spend more time with them, or I'm going on vacation or whatever, dial it back. Don't pitch as much. Take a little bit less work. You have that opportunity to make your schedule be what it is. I have this build coming up, or maybe I have a vacation that I'm planning for that I want to earn some more. I'm going to dial up my pitching right now so I can start earning some more money to plan for that vacation there, or kids' college, or whatever. It's so few people actually have control of their actual incomes. There's that we talk it, and please don't get us wrong, being on staff at companies as copywriters is fantastic. Kate and I have both done it. We both have loved it. For the right companies, it's terrific. But at the same time too, we have also always, even when we have been on staff as copywriters, we've always kept freelance clients. Number one, because it's good to it keeps you flexible, keeps you fresh. Number two, it's good to have that income and to keep your feet in the freelance world in case something goes wrong with a company and, they lay off people, or, you get a new manager and you really don't like that new manager and you want to leave. You have that ability. But on top of that, when you are in a full-time job, and that is all you are doing, you are not in control of how much you make. You're also not in control of your schedule or anything like that, as we were saying earlier. But you, which is kind of the craziest thing when you really think about it. Someone else tells you how much you make for the work that you do. If you go into your office and one week you put in a ton more effort and a ton more work and you generate so much value for the company, you're still going to get the same paycheck at the end of the week or bi-weekly or whatever. That doesn't affect it all. Maybe you'll get a bonus at the end of the year. Maybe. So a lot of people don't get bonuses, or they could have worked really hard, but if the company didn't do very well, guess what? nobody gets bonuses.
Mm-hmm.
You are not, and it's, so many people I know who are like, oh God, I really hope I get a 3% raise this year. And that's certainly reasonable. I'm not saying that 3% is not, but like to be hoping, like, I don't know, because it's in somebody else's hands. But when you have, even like I said, if you're part-time copywriting and you have a full-time job, you get to decide if you want to make some more money. If you're like, we have this coming up, the holidays are coming up. We've got, the kids want gifts. The kids, that's what kids want. They want gifts. Dial it up in September and October, or, earlier if you want to. Make sure you got that cash set aside. It's not a going into your boss's office going, oh, I've worked really hard. Can I please? And that's the thing, is you could have done an amazing job. You could have worked so hard. You could have brought so much more value into the company. It's still not within your control. Your boss could still say, well, the company didn't do that well this year, so nobody's getting raises, nobody's getting bonuses. Like, it's when you really think about it, it's crazy to let someone else be in control of your livelihood. And when you have a skill like copywriting, like I said, even if you are on staff at a company, you have that ability to affect how much you're making in your freelance hours. Or if you're full-time freelance, it's the same thing. You decide how much you want to make and how much you want to work and all of that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. And you can raise your rates when, here's everything I did this year and I've learned so much. I'm adding way more value to my clients. I'm going to bump up my rates $5 or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Or I'm going to, wrap it into the project price. And
yeah, absolutely. Well, and I think too that one thing that I always kind of come back to whenever I do travel and people say, oh, what do you do? Or in the little forms, I always say writer. Mm-hmm. And I don't know about you, Kate, but when I was a little kid, what did I want to be? I wanted to be a writer, maybe like briefly a ballerina, because all the other little girls in second grade wanted to be ballerina. But like,
I want to be a ballerina now.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. I'm going to look into that. But it's hard. I took ballet class. It's very hard. As an adult, they were very hard. But I always wanted to be a writer. And the fact that I can be an adult earning my living as a writer is so flipping cool. And that I can achieve amazing goals and that I can live an amazing life, that I can, again, pre and post pandemic times, I can go live overseas for a couple of months and still work because I'm a writer is so cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So as you can tell,
we love it.
We love copywriting. Yeah, so Valentine's Day was coming up. We thought we would first of all, obviously, send a little love to all of you guys. Thank you all for continuing to listen to the show, for subscribing, for giving us your reviews. Thank you for sending in the reviews. And if you haven't left a review yet, don't forget that you can get a special bonus recording. We'll put the notes in the podcast. We'll put the info in the podcast notes. Don't forget. But thank you. So we are grateful to all of you, and we love all of you. And Kate, I love you.
Oh, I love you too.
Very, very lucky person. I love what I do, and I love the people that I do it with. So that is why we love copywriting. If you also love copywriting, let us know. Comment on the YouTube video. Comment on Instagram. As they say, share the love. And we'll catch you on the next episode of the Build Your Copywriting Business podcast. Bye, everybody. Thanks for watching. Make sure you don't miss any tips, tools, or tactics for copywriters by clicking subscribe right now. And of course, you can always find us over at filthyrichriter.com. We'll see you next time.